NFC Interdivision Battle, matching the St. Louis Cardinals and the Detroit Lions. Hi, everybody. I'm Frank Lieber along with Johnny Morris, and I'll tell you something. Lions are 2-0, Cardinals 0-2. A lot of questions being asked. Is Detroit that good? Are the Cardinals that bad?
Well, Frank, I can let you know maybe in about 3 hours, but it really is a crucial game because the Lions are 2-0, but they're coming home for the first time playing before 80,000 hometown fans. They want to do well, but for the Cardinals, it's even more crucial. They're 0-2. If they lose today and then have to go home and play Philadelphia, they could be in a big hole that they might not be able to climb out of.
Cardiac Cardinals haven't been winning the close ones of late. They have lost a couple of very close ball games, including last week in San Francisco. This was a very big run, a sweep by Paul Hofer, which enabled the 49ers to tie the score. A very big play in the game. We talked about it with Jim Hadifin, the Cardinal coach.
Well, Frank, we were in a 3rd-and-1 situation at that time. They ran a sweep. It was a good call on their part. Our people were not expecting the run and didn't react properly to it.
I understand that you might have cause for celebration later today. Birthday time?
Well, it happens to be my birthday, but the only way that it can be any kind of celebration is if we get a win here today.
Spoken like a man who is 0-2, but this Sims, he has set this town on its ear.
Oh, he's something else, isn't he? You know, everybody knows that he can run with the football. He did it at Oklahoma. But now he's got into the passing game. Last week against the Green Bay Packers, they threw a short pass over the middle to Billy Sims, and watch what he does with it. He makes a great grab and then turns on the speed over the middle and goes up the sideline for an 87-yard touchdown. He hasn't been noted as a pass receiver, but he is going to become more of a part of it. And I talked with Monty Clark about the future of Billy Sims in the passing game.
The thing that's been a little bit different for him is there's a whole new world of thinking involved in the adjustments necessary in the passing game, and that's taken a little bit of time. I don't think there's ever been any question about him being able to catch the ball, his hands, and that part of it. It's just the adjustments that are required and the fine-tuning type things that are necessary in a passing game.
Gary Danielson had one of the best lines for the Lions. He said, you didn't think I could throw the bomb, did you?
Well, those are easy ones, and you throw a little short one, you got a man like Billy Sims. Gary Danielson's going to look great in the statistics.
Lions' first start before the home fans, and they have a near-capacity crowd of 80,000 on hand. The Cardinals have won the toss of the coin, and they have elected to receive, which will mean you'll get an opportunity to see the young man we talked about in the NFL today, place kicker Eddie Murray, whose hang time on these kickoffs is absolutely amazing. There's the standings in the Eastern Division, and you can see the Cardinals have some catching up to do right now. They're the only team in the division without a victory.
And you were talking about hang time, Frank. When he gets that ball up there, by the time that the receiver can catch it, the Detroit Lions are down there right on top of the receiver, and they're not getting much of a return against the Detroit Lions on the special teams.
Roy Green on the left and Willard Harrell on the right for the St. Louis Cardinals. Amazing thing about that hang time of Murray's, normally you see a guy like Mosley who's a straightaway kicker kick it high. These sidewinders normally line drive these kickoffs. Not this guy, though. He can get it up.
Well, the fans are kind of excited, too. 80,000, almost a sellout here in the Silver Dome. First time they've seen their Detroit Lions live.
Waiting the whistle from the referee, Ben Dreith, is Murray. He's got it, and here we go. Very high, but rather short. Harrell near the sideline at the 10, 15, across the 20, and Harrell is run out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Here's a look at the Cardinals' offensive line. Patchwork now. They're missing 3 regulars since last season. Bob Young is out of there, of course, failed the physical. Keith Worthman, they lost just this week with a knee operation. Cardinal receivers and backs. Anderson scheduled to start, but keep in mind he is operating with a mild shoulder separation. Suffered last week against San Francisco. Mel Gray, Pat Tilley, the wide receivers, both are wide to the right. Very first play from scrimmage results in a Detroit sack. Defensively for Detroit, as John Mendenhall made that last sack. Al Baker, of course, an All-Pro after a long holdout, back in the lineup again. Stan White obtained from the Colts in the offseason. And their veteran defensive secondary, though they have moved a couple of people around this year. Loss in the play of 6 yards. It'll be second down and 16. Cardinals with the ball at the 20-yard line. moments of the ball game. Wayne Morris in motion. Pitch to Anderson. Run out of bounds near the 30. He took Eddie Murray out with him, and he comes up hurting. Very first play from scrimmage. And he may have taken a belt on that shoulder.
Well, it was rather doubtful as to whether he was going to start. They didn't make a decision until the last minute of the game, and Otis had been saying all week to Coach Jim Hennepin, I want to play, and apparently it was a more or less stunned because he's running right back onto the field. Otis Anderson showing some courage here. He has 32 rushes for 144 yards this year, but
he wanted to go back into the huddle, but the official signaled him off. And Theodis Brown, I believe. No, Harrell is in there. Harrell and Brown are in there. Make them both. So there's Otis Anderson. This man accounted for 62% of the rushing yardage accumulated by the Cardinals last season. So you could see what his loss could mean to the ball club. 3rd down, 7. Cardinals at their 29. Tilley wide to the right side. Mel Gray is split to the left. Hart again under pressure. Normally a pretty good receiver, but Theodis Brown, the former UCLA star, dropped that one. It was a little hot.
yes, it was, but it came right at him, and he stuck his hands out in front of him to catch it with the 2 hands rather than catching it into the stomach and making sure of the grab. So the Cardinals are going to have to punt. They came out throwing the ball. Jim Hart was throwing on 1st down, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Cardinals throw an awful lot, especially with Otis Anderson out of the game. The running game is going to be hurt a little bit.
Larry Swider, who punted last year for the Lions, is punting now for the Cardinals. They picked him up several weeks ago. John Arnold is the deep man. Beautiful kick. Arnold driven back to the 17, 20, and caught at the 22-yard line. They did a fine job of running him down. It was Nelson, number 38, Lee Nelson, who was there first. Here's that young Detroit offensive line. Only one man, Bollinger, has as much as 4 years experience. The rest of them 3s and 2s. Tribute to Monty Clark. Lions receivers and backs. Dexter Bussey, of course, kind of the unsung hero now with Sims in there, but he does a fine job complimenting Billy Sims. They alternate wide receivers and sending the plays from the bench that way. 53 yards on that punt. Danielson, the quarterback. Sims is out to the 25 for a pickup of 3. And there is an air of excitement every time this young man gets his hands on the football. Eric Williams making the stop as we look at the St. Louis Cardinal defensive front 7. They play that 3-man front with Dawson, the nose tackle. Baker is a rookie in there. And the secondary. I think Roger Worley's going to play forever. He's still in there. 2nd down, 7. Sims stopped short of the 1st down at the 27-yard line. It'll be 3rd down. Lions are going to need 3 for the 1st. Mark Arneson came up to make the stop. Gary Danielson, who's had to throw just sparingly, really, in the first 2 games because the running attack has been working so well.
And that's been the key for the Lions. They've had balance. They've had running and passing. And, of course, Sims has been the real key because he can do so many things. You don't have to even knock people down for Billy Sims to break a run for you, and that's a tremendous advantage.
3rd down, a little less than 5 for the 1st down, closer to 4. Flag is down as Danielson has trouble getting the ball away and is buried back at the 18-yard line. Good rush by Arneson, who blitzed on the play, number 57, and Mike Dawson, the nose tackle, was also in there.
There was the jump off sides, but you can see Danielson was in trouble here. He bobbled the ball as he was hit by Bob Pollard, but the ball came right back into his hands, and he was brought down. However, St. Louis was off sides, critical penalty, and those kinds of things have been hurting the Cardinals these first 2 games of the season. A lot of penalties, a lot of turnovers and fumbles.
Well, it was Arneson who blitzed to his offside, and instead of forcing the Lions to punt, the Cardinals' mistake gives Detroit a 1st down at their 32-yard line. Freddie Scott wide to the right side along with Mike Freedy, the rookie receiver. Fumble was after the snap. Dexter Bussey carrying it out beyond the 35 to the 37-yard line.
As you see, Gary Danielson is applying some rosin to his hands. It's a little sticky here in the stadium today, and of course the ball can get a little bit wet, so he wants to make sure he can always get a good grip on it. Of course, they have 24 balls. They're supposed to provide 24 for a football game, so if that one gets too wet, there's plenty more available.
We'll be passing other scores along throughout the course of the afternoon. 2nd down 6. Lions from their 37-yard line. Sims to the 38 for a pickup of 2. They got to have people shadowing him all over the place. Roy Green made the stop. Eric Williams. You might recall last year, Otis Anderson in his first 2 games rushed for 305 yards. He had 193 start against Dallas. Sims went for 287 in his first 2 games. Then in the 3rd game last year, Anderson was stopped for 37 yards by Pittsburgh. Of course, Sims is going to become the first man to gain 100 yards rushing in his first 3 games as a pro. 3rd and 4. Danielson back into the pocket. Pointing downfield, finally gets rid of the ball. That's good for the first down at the 50-yard line. That's the rookie, Mike Freedy, out of the University of Indiana. And the Lions have a first down in Cardinal territory at the St. Louis 41.
The Lions may have gotten a break there. It looks like one of the backs might have moved too soon, but there was no call. And Danielson shows his mobility here as they put the rush on. He really couldn't find anybody open. He's pointing downfield. He's telling people what to do. Come back for the ball. And that's what Freedy did. And then he wheeled around and then took it on down the field as number 44, Collier, did not make the tackle as he got around.
Detroit on the move at the St. Louis Cardinal 40-yard line, operating out of the split backfield. Dexter Bussey breaking through to the 33 for a pickup of 7. It'll be 2nd and 3. Eric Williams, number 55, the outside linebacker on the right side for the Cardinals, making the stop.
I think Dexter Bussey might be very happy that Billy Sims came along to the Detroit Lions, don't you? Because Sims rushes into the line on one side, and they've got to concentrate a little bit on Sims, and that's going to give more and more room to Dexter Bussey.
Of course, both Sims and Bussey went over 100 yards in the Lions' first game against the Rams. 2nd down. Called it 4 needed for the first down from the 34. Inside handoff as Bussey carried down to the 31. That'll be short of the first down. They have to get the football just inside the 30 to pick up the first. So they're looking at 2 yards here with 3rd down coming up.
I think the Lions, if they have a real good year, and of course they're off to a 2-0 record after being 2-14 last year, they'll have to say thanks to that first game. Wouldn't you agree, Frank? Beating the Rams on opening day probably gave this young team a big lift.
Even though the Rams weren't quite up to par, it's got to be a great psychological lift. 3rd down and 2 as the Lions try to keep the drive going. The fake to Sims. He lays it out there, and it's not caught at the 10-yard line. Ulysses Morris, number 80, a backup tight end, the 2nd tight end in that short yardage formation. The other, of course, is the regular David Hill.
I'll say one thing, they went for it. Roy Green made a nice play on defense back there, number 25 for St. Louis to stop the Cardinals, and they're at the 31.5-yard line.
Eric Hipple, a rookie, will hold for Murray. This will be a 49-yard attempt. He's made one from 52. He's made one from 43. Those have been his 2 longest. He's 7 out of 7 on the year. This one is no good. Murray's first miss on the season. And the Lions give up the football with 9:45 remaining in the first period. There is no score. Well, they're very friendly down there right now, Johnny. Might not be later.
Uh-oh, there's a shot to the chops. 2-on-1. That's not fair.
That's right. Lions and the Redbirds fighting it out here at the Pontiac Silverdome. St. Louis ball, 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line after the missed field goal attempt. Anderson is back in there, and on the carry going wide is run out of bounds at the 33-yard line by Ken Fantetti, the middle linebacker. Getting a little vocal over there on the far side. You see Bubba Baker, number 60 of the Lions, very much in the middle of that.
And you'll see number 57 at the bottom of your screen, Ken Fantetti. He kind of stretches this in run out. He goes right down the line of scrimmage, and we're going to get a little extracurricular activity here as Fantetti puts the hit on Otis and pushes him out of bounds, hits him a little bit high there, then gives him a little shove, and Otis Anderson didn't like that, and maybe the officials didn't either.
There was a penalty marker on the play, and yardage is being marked off against Detroit.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 57 on the defense. That's a first down.
That was Fantetti, the middle linebacker, who undoubtedly gave Anderson that high shot around the neck and then gave him the extra nudge, as Johnny mentioned. So the Cardinals get a break. They have a first down at their 49-yard line. Tilley is wide to the right side. Mel Gray is flanked to the left. Wayne Morris in motion for St. Louis. Hart back to throw it to Anderson at the 50, 45. Lost something to football, and Detroit recovers. Walt Williams, number 21, fell on the football. First turnover of the afternoon, and 80,000 Lion fans roar. Detroit will take over when we come back in just a moment. Frank Lieber with Johnny Morris. Take a look at that fumble, which the Lions recovered.
It was just a screen out there in the flat, and Anderson was by himself, but he didn't wait for those linemen. He couldn't get back behind his line when it was hit and fumbled, and it's a first down for Detroit.
Officials mark it at the Detroit 49-yard line. No score. We are still early in the first period of play here at the Pontiac Silverdome. Billy Sims got it across midfield to the 49 of St. Louis. Pickup of 2 on the play. Steve Niels, number 53, making the stop.
How would you like to be Roy Green on that play? He came across to force, and he saw this big old guard, Homer Elias, coming at him and really pounded him down to the turf. That's a tough one-on-one matchup, a defensive back against those big guards.
It is 2nd and 8 for Detroit at the St. Louis 49-yard line. Lions nothing and the Cardinals nothing. Danielson wants to put it up, does. Completes it to Scott over the middle. Wide receiver Freddie Scott. A one-time Baltimore Colt. Take a look at it again.
Mr. Danielson back in the pocket. Plenty of protection as Scott comes underneath the coverage, and he hit him right in the shoulders, but not enough for the first down, so we have a key call coming up right here.
3rd down, a long 3 needed for the first down. Nose of the football just inside the St. Louis 45. Both wide receivers are off to the left. As Danielson calls the signals, it's Billy Sims. And Sims came within a step of breaking it. He gets the first down at the 37-yard line, but it looked like he slipped and fell.
Let's watch the right guard, Russ Bollinger, there, number 73, and he follows Dexter Bussey, but Bollinger got the key block, and Sims almost broke it.
So a first down for Detroit at the 37-yard line. Interesting side note to this game, both starting quarterbacks, Danielson and Hart, were originally signed as free agents, and that's a rarity in the National Football League.
There's a lot of bargains around, you just got to find them.
Lions on the move from the Cardinal 37, a blitz. Danielson has time to throw it, pass is incomplete. Broken up over on the far side. Mike Freedy, number 86, the intended receiver, and a fine job by the defensive back, Tim Collier, number 44.
I can't believe this one. The Minnesota Vikings are ahead of the Chicago Bears 14-0 in the first period. Tommy Kramer threw to Ahmad Rashad for 1 touchdown, and Mike Phipps had a pass intercepted by Tom Hannon. So, gee, the Bears are in trouble.
You mean being from Chicago, you can't believe it. 2nd and 10. Lions at the St. Louis 37-yard line. Freddie Scott in motion across the backfield. He's looking at Scott. Danielson up the middle. Big hole. 30 down to the 28-yard line. Close to a first down, but I don't believe he quite made it. Ken Green, number 37, up on the stop. That's why Danielson is a little bit unhappy, because he's a little bit short of the first.
Well, he probably could have gotten the extra yard if he wanted to stay up and take on somebody full blast, but he is told by Coach Monty Clark, as most coaches tell their quarterbacks, head for that turf when it gets close. We want you for the next play, not for the extra yard on this play.
Double tight end setup for the Lions. Norris comes in there to join David Hill. 3rd down. They need 2 for the first down at the St. Louis 28-yard line. Sims trying to get outside, dives for the first down, and he'll be close. Right around the 27-yard line. Danielson already pointing to the bench, says, let's go for it if we don't have it. They don't have it. Monty Clark is going to go with the field goal.
Well, Danielson wanted to go for it. They're an offensive type team this year, and things are going good. He felt, well, let's carry momentum, and he may have had a point because they're 28 yards away. It'll be a 45-yard field goal, but who knows? They might not kick it. They got a quarterback holding.
That's Eric Hipple, one of their top draft choices, and a very promising youngster. And of course, Murray will try it. He's missed one, his first of the year. 45-yard attempt. And he misses this one. Maybe we jinxed him. So Eddie Murray is 0 for 2, and the Cardinals will take over at the line of scrimmage. No score with 5:53 left. Frank Lieber with Johnny Morris at the Pontiac Silverdome. 80,000 on hand to watch the Cardinals and the Lions. We mentioned Billy Sims' attempt to become the first man to gain 100 yards. His first 3 professional games. Jim Hart has a chance to move up in the NFL record book today. We'll tell you about that in just a moment. 1st and 10. Hart doing what he does so well. Completing a pass to Tilley at the 30-yard line and up to the 34. Hart needs 205 yards throwing the football today to become the 8th man in NFL history to reach the 30,000 yardage mark.
This little out pass seemed to take a long time to develop as Tilley was open, and then he almost got away from Williams here. Finally, Williams brings down, and looked like he almost had him by the side of the face mask, doesn't it? No, he's had the jersey, a legal tackle. There's an injury down on the field.
One of the Lions' defensive linemen, the left end Dave Purifoy, was shaken up on the play and will leave the field. Gets a pat on the back from Bubba Baker, number 60.
These Cardinals can score. They've lost a couple of games, but they've been scoring a lot of points.
That's defense where their trouble has been. They've given up 65 points in the first 2 games. 2nd down. St. Louis needing 3 for the first down. With the ball at the 34-yard line. In their end of the field, no score. Otis Anderson driving hard and driven out of bounds at the 38-yard line. That'll be very close to a first down. Ken Fantetti, the middle linebacker. A hunch they've got Fantetti slated to follow Anderson wherever he goes. He's been around him most of the afternoon thus far. It is a first down for St. Louis at the Cardinal 38.
The Bengals have taken a first quarter lead over the Pittsburgh Steelers, 7-0 on an intercepted pass by Ray Griffin.
Our score, 0-0. 5 minutes, 19 seconds left to play in the opening period. Tilley wide to the right side. Morris and Anderson, the second backs. Anderson to about the 42-yard line, wrapped up by William Gay, number 79. Defensive end of the Detroit Lions, the Silver Rush, they call them. Missing one man from last year, and that's Doug English, who decided to retire and pursue the oil business back in Texas. You know, Cincinnati beat Pittsburgh last year, remember? It's a little bit early, however, in that football game. 2nd down, 5. Cardinals operating from their 42-yard line. Again, both receivers wide to the right. Morris on the draw. And Wayne Morris is out to the 46. They needed to net the 48 for the first down. He's a couple of yards shy. Stan White, 52, and Fantetti, 57 on the stop. Stan White has been a welcome addition to this Detroit Lions defense. Right side linebacker who came over in an offseason trade from Baltimore on the recommendation of his former linebacker coach at Baltimore, Maxie Baughan, who now holds down the same position with Detroit. 3rd and 2. Mel Gray, the speedster, in motion. Jimmy Hart drops it over the middle. That's one guy you want to stop before he puts it in high gear. Mel Gray, the speedster, who caught the pass but paid a price for it as he was dropped at the 49 and is getting up slowly.
He was in motion at the top of your screen, comes back underneath the coverage, and you got that little guy exposed. Boy, you stretch him out like that, and you got those big linebackers say, hey, give me a piece of him. And Fantetti and Weaver both were in on the tackle, and down with Mel Gray, who is not up yet.
Take a look at Brad Oates. Pass protection here, 65. He's taken Workman's place. He's got a handful.
Yes, he does. He's got old Bubba there and did okay on that.
Gray is on his feet, being helped off. He's got a string going in which he has caught a pass in 91 consecutive games that he's played. John O'Mahundra, the Cardinal trainer, walking off the field with him.
And he's done that with a lot of various ailments that he's had. Mel Gray has been banged up and leg problems.
He's replaced by Mark Bell, rookie draft choice, number 81. Bell going wide to the left side at the top of your screen. Tilley to the right, just out of your picture on the bottom. First down, Cardinals at their 40 yards into Detroit territory near the 46-yard line before he's stacked up. Luther Bradley, number 27, and Purifoy, number 75, who's back in there.
Purifoy does a nice job. He came around behind that play and tackled him from behind. He's a very smart football player.
Well, how about those 49ers this year, huh?
14-0 over the Jets. They're going to be 3-0 if they keep that up.
San Francisco and Detroit in the first 2 weeks have already duplicated their win totals for the entire 1979 season. On 2nd and 6, it is Anderson. Big hole. First down and then some as he catapults to the 37-yard line. He's hurting a little bit. He's getting up slowly every time.
Yes, that time White got caught inside. There was no linebacker out there to contain, and Otis just dipped to the outside and got himself some yards before bringing down, and they're trying to establish that running game as Otis goes off the field once again. And anytime you're playing with a shoulder separation, no matter how slight it is, it's got to be very, very tender.
He took himself out of the game and is replaced by Willard Harrell, number 39. First and 10. Cardinals at the line, 37. Lions have missed 2 field goals here in the early going. Hart, good protection, bullet intended downfield for Mark Bell, number 81. Back there defending, number 28, James Hunter.
Well, Hart cannot blame his pass protection on that one. He had good after the play-action pass. There was good blocking. He just missed the pass because Bell was open. He overthrew him. Led him just a little bit too much. Luther Bradley almost had an interception, went right through his hands too.
It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 37-yard line as Gray comes back into the ball game.
I understand that San Francisco quarterback Steve DeBerg's out of the game because his microphone is not working. He has laryngitis, and they had to take him out.
However, they're doing all right ahead of the Jets, 14-0. 2nd and 10. Gray in motion. Big rush. Hart avoids it, gets the pass away, and completes it to Tilley at the 30-yard line. Good job by Hart avoiding the rush that time. Walt Williams, number 21, in the stop.
And what a great play by Wayne Morris to stop the blitz that time and save watch the blitz coming from this side. You're going to see Weaver comes. Morris, number 24, comes over there and dumps him down, and then Hart ducked under the other man and then threw the ball and got it off. For really a great play by the remaining backs to save Hart and let him get the pass off.
Little short of the first down. Cardinals will need 2. This is 3rd down, and keep in mind St. Louis has the NFC's best 3rd down offense. They've converted 54% of the time. That's outstanding. Gray in motion. Crowd really alive here at the Silverdome. Hart on 3rd down, completes it for the first down as he goes to Dave Stieff, number 84. And the Cardinal drive picks up another first down at the 22-yard line. Stieff, a 3rd-year man out of Portland State. I understand that DeBerg has got his got a new battery or whatever it is, and he's back in shape again in New York.
They recharged the batteries and said, get back in there and throw some more TD passes.
This drive by the Cardinals, very fine drive, started back at the 28-yard line. It's now reached the Detroit 23, first down. Anderson is back in there again along with Morris. dribble. And sacked back at the 35-yard line. Mendenhall 64 and Baker number 60.
It was Mendenhall and Baker that got through. Hart had some time, but he couldn't find a receiver open. You don't sack him too often. There was a man right out in the flat. Did you see Otis Anderson out there? He could have dumped it to him, but he didn't see him in time, and that's kind of really actually hard to believe because Hart knows where his receivers are. He just waited just a little bit too long and couldn't get away from the rush, but we have a penalty.
There was a marker down on the play, and it's going against Detroit. Let's get the call here from Ben Reith.
Defense offside number 60. 60. First down.
Well, that'll help you to get to the passer, won't it?
Yes, it will. No wonder they got a fast start. The Lions have already had a couple of crucial penalties, and they've missed 2 field goals, and here they're about to be up behind if the Cardinals can convert this drive. First down.
It is 1st and 5 for St. Louis at the Detroit 17-yard line. Hart sending Mel Gray to the left side. He's got Tilley wide to the right. Anderson and Morris, the setbacks. Otis Anderson up the middle to the 11. That's a first down. Luther Bradley making the stop. 27, some pretty tough hitting.
That's what it looks like from this angle. A lot of bodies hitting as Anderson went right through the slim hole and was able to get up there and get the first down. And look at that, he kept those legs driving.
Clock is run out here in the first period of play at the end of 1 quarter at the Pontiac Silverdome. Cardinals nothing and the Lions nothing. There's one of the youngest Lions fans in attendance today.
I think she sees us.
And run by Anderson picked up the first down for the Cardinals. So as we head into the second period of play, St. Louis 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. They could pick up a first down inside the 1. Very fine drive. It started back at the 28. And Hart's been mixing it up nicely, as you would expect from a 15-year veteran. Anderson gets outside, then back in, and carries it to the 7. 2 of the great young backs in the National Football League in action today, and Otis Anderson and Billy Sims. Fantetti making the stop.
That will go down as a very long run, but that was a really nifty move by Anderson, wasn't it? He dipped in, out, and then back in and was able to get a few yards out of it.
There's Anderson's stats so far this afternoon. He picked up 1,605 yards rushing as a rookie last year, second only to Walter Payton of the Chicago Bears. 2nd and 7 from the 8-yard line. Hart over the middle. Incomplete. Intended for the tight end Doug Marsh, the former Michigan star, who's been their leading pass receiver in the first 2 games.
They were closing in on Hart, and he had to get that ball off and was just a little short of it. Oh, right down there. It was catchable. Tough catch, but he couldn't quite hang on.
Marsh, of course, appears to be the solution to their tight end problems. First outstanding tight end they've had since J.V. Kane. They went through several last year. Never did find the solution. Theodis Brown and Harrell are now in the backfield on this passing situation. 3rd down from the 8-yard line. Hart under pressure gets it away, incomplete to Tilley, and no flag. Tilley looking around for a flag, thought he might have been interfered with, but the officials say no, and the Cardinals will have to settle for a field goal attempt by Steve Little. In their first 2 games, Little, number 12, has attempted just 1 field goal. That was a 35-yarder against San Francisco last week, which he missed. He has been somewhat erratic. After being a top draft choice a couple of years ago, Worley will hold. This will be a 25-yard attempt. And he missed it. We have had 3 missed field goals today. 2 by Murray, 1 by Little. Still no score. A minute deep in the second period. Of course, we would have had at least 3 field goals, but nobody's been able to hit. But he seems to be missing to the left. As the Lions get the football back at their 20-yard line, Dexter Bussey carrying out close to the 25 before he is stacked up.
This is a pretty good ground level shot here. As you can see, the Lion line trying to push the defense back. They were able to get a little bit out of it, but the Cardinals had it smelled out. There were a lot of people right there.
Bussey hasn't missed a game since 1977. He started all but one during that period. And a fine back for Detroit. Pittsburgh is on the board, as you can see, in Cincinnati. Second down, 5. Lions just short of their 25. Here's Sims. He's exciting even when he stopped for no gain, isn't he?
That's right. Steve Niels did a heck of a job there. He stayed at home. He saw Sims going the other way, stayed where he was supposed to be, and filled his lane and was able to make the tackle.
It is third down. The Lions need 4 for the first down with the ball at the 26-yard line. We understand we've had some video problems along the way, so we'll give you a radio call until that's rectified. Let you know what's happening here at the Pontiac Silverdome. Lions ball 3rd and 4 from their 25-yard line. Here's Danielson dropping back to throw, straight back into the pocket. Bumps it once, lets it go incomplete downfield. Intended for Bussey at the 30-yard line. He was popped pretty good as the ball came in the area by Steve Niels, the linebacker, and we've got a Lion injured on the play. It'll be a punting situation for Detroit. One of the Lions is down at the 20-yard line and clutching his left knee from all appearances. So that will necessitate a delay here with 12 minutes and 44 seconds left to play in the first half. Still no score in this football game. Lions team physician being called out.
There's always an immediate silence when you see a player clutching his knee, because you know that it's something that could end up being the season. I can't quite make it out who it was. It's one of the...
Like one of the linemen, isn't it?
Yes.
He's got physicians and trainers gathered around him, so we can't pick up his number right now. Detroit, in going 2-0, has the number 1 offense in the National Football League. They've scored 70 points. They've picked up an astounding 950 yards, which is absolutely incredible for 2 football games. Timeout, down in the field, back at the Pontiac Superdome in just a moment. Clark, in his 3rd year as head coach of the Detroit Lions, the injured man was the center Amos Fowler. He was helped off the field. 4th and 4, Detroit, and Tom Skladany is in to do the punting, standing back in his 10-yard line, awaiting the snap. Rookie center Tom Tenure does the snapping. He'll be playing center too. Low spinning kick fielded by Harrell at the St. Louis 40. Breaks away from one tackler up to the 45. A flag goes down and he's dropped at the 46. It was Cobb who made the stop for the Detroit Lions on Willard Harrell, but we got a penalty marker down. And when they drop them in that area, it's usually a clip. And that's what it is, clipping. Against St. Louis, will move them back to the neighborhood of the 25-yard line.
Let's see if we can pick up the clip there. It might have been, is that Johnny Bearfield?
Personal foul.
Yep.
Clipping. 58 on a run back.
You saw it there on the right side of your screen. Johnny Bearfield, number 58. One of the outstanding members of the Cardinals specialty team, guilty of the clip. Cardinals have the football and a first down at their 26. Morris and Otis Anderson are the running backs behind Jim Hart. No score as we reach the midway mark of the second period. Hart sideline throw. Tilley is wide open at the 40-yard line and out of bounds at the 45. Boy, somebody missed coverage there.
Yes, it was Williams who got downfield and stumbled. You'll see him stumbling right there at the top of your screen. He stumbled as he was dropping off on his coverage. In the meantime, Hart noticed that and threw it right away and hit Tilley, number 83. And Pat got an extra yard or two before he was knocked out of bounds. First down, St. Louis.
Cardinals moving with the nose of the ball just beyond their 45. They had a long drive on their last possession. And that little hooked a 25-yard field goal attempt. Anderson, near midfield, reaches the 49-yard line. Pickup of 3 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 7. John Mendenhall, number 64, on the stop. There's the book so far, and Jim Hart will keep close track of his yardage when he hits 2:05 this afternoon, he'll have 30,000 career yards, which puts him up there in the stratosphere with the greats of the game. Tenier, the center. He's the rookie. Snapper for kicks. And we'll also see extra duty now with Fowler hurting his leg. Second down, 7. Anderson. Stopped at the 46-yard line of the Lions by Stan White, number 52.
And Bubba Baker, who may have hurt his hand again. He's playing with a couple of broken bones in his hand, but he came off of his rush and got in on the tackle. There's Otis. Looks like he's dead tired, doesn't he?
He's rushed it 9 times so far. Not bad, though, for a guy playing with a slightly separated shoulder. Third down. Cardinals need 2 for the first down. Hart drills it. It's picked off by Stan White. And White is dropped at the 47-yard line. Second turnover given up by the Cardinals.
Hart wanted to go into the flat, then he saw Tilley, and Stan White watched the quarterback and came in great hands just like a receiver. Still nothing.
A hard-hitting football game so far. There's Bubba Baker having that hand looked at. He suffered 2 broken bones last week against Green Bay. And here is Amos Fowler, the Detroit center, being helped from the playing field, heading for the locker room using a crutch. Looks like it might be a knee. Lions first and 10 after that turnover at their 47. Danielson to Billy Sims. Sims to the 50. 45 to the 43. 10 yards. And it should be a Lion first down.
Okay, the screen to Sims. You even see the tackle pulling out there on this quick screen. Dorney's out in front, number 70, throws his block, and Sims almost broke that. Steve Niels made the tackler. But it's one of the ways when you throw that quick screen like that, it's like getting your fast scat back out on an in run around the horn. And it's just a matter of mechanics, and Billy Sims is proving that he can catch the ball. He only caught 3 passes in college. He caught no passes, can you believe this, in high school. And yet they say that they found out in their early training camp that he can catch the ball, and they're going to utilize that.
Officials say he's just short of the first down. It'll be second and inches. Sims, by the way, from scrimmage has carried 7 times for only 19 yards. So the Cardinals have held him well in check. Danielson's been having to go to more of the passing game. That'll be a first as Sims crashes to the 41-yard line. First and 10 for the Lions, who have missed 2 field goal attempts by Murray, his first 2 misses of the year, both in excess of 40 yards. And the Cardinals, who have missed 1, a chip shot from 25 yards by Little.
And look at this, San Francisco, the 49ers 21-0 over the Jets, and still only in the second period. Joe Montana came in to throw a touchdown pass for San Francisco.
And Bill Welch has done some kind of job out there.
He sure has.
And hello to you. First and 10, Lions, St. Louis 41. Danielson. Big hole for Bussey, 30, 25. Dexter Bussey is down to the 22-yard line. That opened up very nicely.
And the key was Russ Bollinger, number 73, as he came out on the screen and kicked out Green there. You'll see there at the block was to the left of your screen. Carrying it one-handed, Bussey goes down and finally knocked down by number 23, Ben Stone.
So the Lions are moving. First down at the 22-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Sims comes out for a rest. Danielson wants timeout. Right at 9 minutes left to play in the first half as Gary Danielson comes over to the sideline for a talk with his head coach, Monty Clark. Danielson originally played in the World Football League with the old New York Stars and then was signed as a free agent by the Detroit Lions. Timeout here in Pontiac. Back after this. There's the book on Gary Danielson so far. Detroit on the move with a first down at the St. Louis 22. No score. Sims is out of there right now, and Rick Kane, number 32, is into the running back along with Bussey. Penalty marker is thrown as Bussey gets it down near the 15-yard line. Lions have won their last 5 games, counting their final 3 preseason games. A holding penalty against Detroit, the preliminary indication by the referee, Ben Reith.
If it was against Rick Kane, he came in for one play and got caught for holding. I don't know. He was right in there. He came in and threw a pretty good block and then had maintained some contact.
Offense, number 70.
No.
Keith Dorney, right tackle for the Lions.
I can't believe this score. Minnesota 21, Chicago nothing.
Vikings take on the Lions next Sunday. Normally you get a team humiliated like they were last week, and they'll come back the next week.
That's right.
If they're any kind of football team at all. Apparently that's what the Vikings are doing. Now 1st and 20. Lions at the 29 of St. Louis. Gary Danielson back to throw it. Blitz was on, but he got the pass away and completed it to Bussey at the 22-yard line. Roger Worley coming up to make the stop.
Bussey got through all that traffic. Watch 24. He fakes the draw. Nobody there to bang him, and he goes out. And the pass was a little bit behind him, or he might have been able to catch it in stride. We have a penalty flag down on the field.
Let's see what this one's about. It will go against St. Louis. And it will be half the distance to the goal, which will move it to the 11-yard line. Let's find out why.
Personal foul, 57, roughing the passer. That's a first down.
That's Mark Arneson, the right side linebacker, who came through on the blitz and hit Danielson as he released the football. A little too hard, according to the officials. This is the Lions' deepest penetration of the afternoon. 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. That's what the Cardinals had a few moments ago on the other end of the field. Sims looking for an opening. To the 8. Neal's number 53 is over there, and so is Roy Green. Number 25.
Good play by Green and Neals both. There's Bollinger out in front with his block, but Neals stayed with his ground, strung it out, and got some help from Green, and that was a good play by the St. Louis Cardinals on defense, and they're going to need 2 or 3 more of them because the Lions are down to the 8.
2nd and 7 from the 8. Freddie Scott and Leonard Thompson, the wide receivers, both off to the left side. Danielson almost stumbles and falls, goes to the corner, intended for Scott, but he pretty well threw it away. He was well covered over on the far sideline. There was no opening at all. Tim Collier, number 44, was back there.
They kept Billy Sims in the backfield that time and said, you got to block those big guys coming in. He did a pretty good job.
Mike Freedy checks in with the next play from the bench, and Thompson comes out. 3rd and 7 for the first down. 8 for the touchdown for Detroit at the St. Louis 8-yard line. Still no score.
The Cardinals have their 3-man front now.
Danielson looking in the end zone, and it is no good. Intended for Scott, and again Collier was back there with him. And the boos rained down from above as the fans thought that pass interference should have been called. Let's take a look.
I think it was incidental contact, both going for the ball. He did contact him. The receiver spots the ball first, Scott does, and both of them go up for the ball, and it was a tangle of the feet, and it's pretty tough to call interference on that play.
Scott is a pretty good target, 6'2" and 180 pounds. And here's Murray, who missed 2 in excess of 40 yards. This will be a chip shot for him. 25 yards, exactly the distance that Little of St. Louis missed a few moments ago. Hipple puts it down. It is good. So the Lions are on the board with 7:48 left to play in the first half. Detroit leading St. Louis 3-0. Back after this. The Detroit Lions, who haven't won their first 3 games of the year since way back in 1970, are leading the St. Louis Cardinals 3-0. Roy Green on the left, Willard Harrell on the right as Murray kicks off. This is a beauty. Look at this. 6 yards deep in the end zone. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Detroit Lions and the National Football League is prohibited. We got word that Ken Fantetti, the middle linebacker of the Lions, was shaken up on the last series, but he is back in there now. Nick Lowry has kicked a field goal for Kansas City. In fact, he's kicked a couple of them. He's the other young sensational field goal kicker. Hart throwing on first down to Pat Tilley. Oh, he took a pretty good pop from Fantetti. He's hitting people all over the place.
You have to be ready anytime Mr. Fantetti is around. Plenty of room for Tilley, who came down and just hooked inside, and he was on the ground. It was a legal hit, and Fantetti says, listen, this game is contact. He's down on the ground. He hasn't been hit. I'm going to hit him. And boy, he did, didn't he?
Fantetti is a second-round draft choice of last year.
Second and less than a yard. The linebackers always hit you the hardest. The defensive linemen, they'll hit you sometimes, but they're usually being bothered or attacked or blocked or something. They get you with arms and stuff. It's always the linebackers that get the free shot.
St. Louis. Officials talking things over. There's a call. San Francisco continues to pour it on the Jets in the second period of play. Wersching with a 25-yard field goal. We saw the 49ers a couple of weeks ago. They're an impressive offensive football team under Bill Walsh.
You know, it's kind of ironic as we look at Gary
Holding
Danielson.
offense, number 65 and number 72.
Well, that covers half of the offensive line, doesn't
that
it?
penalty should have been 30 yards. But I was just saying, the two teams with the worst records in the NFL last year, weren't they? The Lions and the 49ers are the two teams that have looked the best this year.
They each won 2 games last year, and they've already won 2 this year, and are going for their 3rd today. 2nd and 10 following the penalty, 10-yard walk-off. Hart floats it out to Anderson, who can't quite reach it. It'll be 3rd and 10. O.J. Anderson did it all last year. NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year, made the Pro Bowl team, made All-Pro. Not a bad start. But like he said, what are you going to do for an encore?
It's kind of like what you do for me today, isn't it?
That's right. Off to a decent start, certainly in his first 2 games, though not nearly as spectacular as last year when he came out of the chute with that 193-yard performance against Dallas. 3rd and 10. St. Louis Cardinals at their 20-yard line. They've turned it over twice. Once on a fumble, once on an interception, and Hart is sacked. Ball goes loose, but the play had been whistled dead. Dave Purifoy on the rush, number 75. Watch him.
The Cardinals had 3 wide receivers in that time, and they could not get open as Purifoy came around, got through 2 men, including Bostic, and put the clamps on Jim Hart, who has been sacked and hassled quite a bit today. He's not used to being sacked, although this year he's been sacked more than in the past. He had 6 sacks going into today's game, and what is that, 2 or 3 today?
That's right. I think 1 was erased because of a penalty. Swider doing the punting. Arnold is deep. John Arnold at the 43, 45, 50, and down to the St. Louis 43-yard line. So Detroit comes out of it with excellent field position. Baker making the stop for the Cardinals off the St. Louis specialty team. I would think that long drive by the Cardinals where they wound up with nothing when Little missed the short field goal probably took a little out of them. Of course, Detroit did miss a couple field goals, but they were long field goals, and the drives weren't nearly that long.
Yeah, nothing's really gone right for St. Louis. In last week's game, I would say 3 or 4 times they were 1 play away from beating the 49ers. 1 play. And each time, San Francisco came through on them. St. Louis has had it rough so far.
Lions 1st and 10 at the St. Louis 43-yard line. David Hill in motion. Tight end screen. And he's run out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Veteran from Texas A&I, 5 National Football League. Carney, number 56, and Niels, number 53 in the stop.
Monty Clark's bringing them all out. You don't see a tight end screen too often out in the flat, do you?
You throw that, you got a guy who can motor upfield pretty good.
Well, he can move, and he'd get downfield, down deep for a tight end. A lot of tight ends cannot.
2nd and 4. 6 minutes left to play in the first half. Bussey down to the 30-yard line. First down, Detroit. Lions have started running the football very slowly compared to their performance in their first 2 games, but the last few minutes, their running game is picking up.
Yes, and it doesn't show in the stats too much, but I've been watching Russ Bollinger. He's had a heck of a game in there. He's doing a great job.
First and 10. Detroit at the St. Louis 30-yard line. Scott to the left side. Thompson to the right. From the eye, the pitch is to Sims. Sims running into Steve Neal's number 53 before he had a chance to get going. Dawson over there quickly, number 73. And also Eric Williams, number 55. Again, we have some video problems along the way, for which we apologize. Try to keep you up with the action, describing it as best we can. We're in the second period. 5 minutes left to play in the first half. Detroit leading 3-0. They have the football, and a 2nd and 10 from the St. Louis 30-yard line. Billy Sims, Dexter Bussey in the split backfield behind Gary Danielson. And Danielson pitches right. Sims cuts back inside the 30 down to the 28, 27. A pickup of 3 on the play. Again, Niels, number 53, making the stop on Sims, who's being marked every step he takes along the way. You know, he once rushed for 200 yards 3 games in a row for the Oklahoma Sooners, and once last year against Missouri, by the way. He ran for 282 in 1 game.
And never caught a pass.
Never caught a pass. Well, he caught 3 in 4 years, so what do you expect? At Oklahoma anyway. 3rd down, 7. Danielson back to throw, fires over the middle. He's got Scott at the 10-yard line, and Freddie Scott is down at the 7. First down, goal to go Lions. Roger Worley making the stop.
Very good plays. Sims is in there blocking with a great block, and he got the inside position on Worley. Scott did for the completion. Worley was playing off a little bit, no help in the middle. A tough play to defend against, but the key was good pass blocking. The remaining back helped out a lot.
20-yard pickup on the play of the first down for the Lions at the 7. Here they come up to the line of scrimmage. Scott wide to the left side. Mike Freedy, the rookie, is split to the right. Danielson calling the signals. They give us to Sims, tries the left side. He's home. Touchdown. However, we may have had a flag. We do have a flag. Hold everything. As Sims went in, and I don't believe anybody touched him. It's going to be against Detroit. Wipe out the touchdown. Pretty nifty move by Sims, nevertheless.
It certainly was. All he had to do was turn on the speed. As Arneson got blocked, kicked out by Dexter Bussey. Look at that move. Look, Mom, no hands.
Lions will be penalized. Let's get the call from Ben Reich.
Holding number 76.
Carl Baldischweiler, guilty of the holding call. That quiets the crowd down somewhat as the Lions are penalized from the point of the foul back 10 yards, which puts the ball on the 13. It'll be 1st and goal to go from that point. Danielson brings him up to the line of scrimmage. Leonard Thompson wide to the right side. He's got Scott in the slot off to the right. Back to throw. Danielson floats it out. He's got Hill, and it's batted away at the last minute. Good defense by Roy Green, number 25, who slapped it away.
Saved it at the last second as the Lions went right to the air. The ball was up and over. It was well thrown, but just well covered by Green. He reaches up there, puts his hand, and just tipped it away. Good defense. However, he was beaten by a step, but that goes to show you sometimes the trajectory of the ball is so important. You can be beat by a step, but if it's a long pass up and over, it's a touchdown. But if the pass has a more of a line drive trajectory, you can reach up and knock it away.
2nd and goal to go. Rick Kane has come into the lineup replacing Sims. And Horace King is also in the Detroit backfield. Lions from the 13-yard line of St. Louis trying to set up a screen. They do so. It is King, and King goes in for a touchdown. Horace King, number 25, as Danielson set up the screen to his left, and King virtually walked into the end zone for the first touchdown of the game.
It was not a classic screen. There's a blitz on. They pick up the blitz, but watch King. He's all mixed up with his lineman. Who's going to catch it? Well, he got it. He's the only one that could legally catch it, and then plays off the block there. Great block. And then turns out to the outside. Nice individual play by Horace King. I got to pick up who got that one block. I think it was the left.
Whoever it was took care of Ken Green, number 37. Completely buried him on the play. Murray is on to try the extra point with Hipple to hold. 2:57 left to play in the first half. The kick is up and it is good. Lions have a 10-0 advantage. After neither team scored in the first period of play, Detroit definitely has taken command here in the second quarter, as the Lions bid for their 3rd victory in a row. This is a team that last year was 13th out of 14 teams in offense in the National Football Conference, and after 2 games this year is number 1 in the league.
I think the positive aspect, the signal that the Lions might come back, obviously with Danielson being healthy and drafting David Sims, but also at the end of the season, a lot of times when a team is 2-14, towards the end of the season, there's a lot of complaining, a lot of dissension. There was not dissension on this Lion team. Everybody seemed to be convinced Monty Clark is the man. It's a bad season. We're going to turn it around. And that was a positive attitude that they had. And I think also the decision by Clark to draft Sims. When you have a team that's 2-14 and you're not doing well, you need bodies, you need people sometimes. So you might trade your number 1 draft choice and get for 2 or 3 veteran players that you could get that are established players. He resisted that temptation and went with Sims, which turned out to be an excellent move.
Green and Harrell are deep as Murray kicks off. The last one went 6 yards deep in the end zone, and this one goes into the end zone and out of the end zone on one big hop. So the Cardinals will get it at the 20-yard line. Of course, Detroit also gets a break in the schedule as a result of finishing 5th last year, and in a scheduling oddity, they play St. Louis, a team that is not in their division, twice. Once here and later on in the season in St. Louis.
Boy, if the Cardinals lose this one, they have to play Philadelphia next week. Could be a long year.
It'll be a very unhappy 47th birthday, too, for Jim Hannafin. 1st and 10. Cardinals at their 20-yard line. As we move toward the 2-minute warning, Anderson out to the 25, taking a few pops along the way before finally being dropped by Allen, number 40, James Allen, and Luther Bradley, number 27.
Going into this game, Jim Hart had completed 67% of his passes, and they had moved the ball pretty much at will these first 2 games. Today it's been erratic. His pass blocking has not been that hot.
2nd and 5. Flags down as Hart drills Tilley at the 35-yard line. That would be a first down were it not for the penalty marker. Again, Ken Fantetti, number 57, the middle linebacker. He's been all over the field this afternoon making the stop.
Tilley is sure showing a knack on the deep hooks. He can find the spot.
60, decline the penalty. That's a first down.
Cardinals quite obviously declined that penalty since the play picked up the first down at the 37-yard line. Clock is run down to 2 minutes and 8 seconds. So chances are after this next play we'll have the 2-minute warning for you. Jim Hart, who passed for 265 yards last week against San Francisco, unloads it to Gray at the 40, 30, foot race, 20. Williams trying to head him off, and Gray has scored.
fantastic play and a great block by Tilly downfield as Hart threaded the needle. There were people all around there, but he caught Mel Gray, which was a legal block. Very close as to whether he clipped him or not. There was the block. He tried to get his head to the outside. To me, as Mel Gray went in for the touchdown, the St. Louis Cardinals are back in this football game.
That's 63 yards on the bomb from Hart. Little on to try the extra point. Gray has now caught a pass in 92 consecutive games. He's still a bit behind Harold Carmichael, who is at the 115 mark for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I think everybody was stunned in the stadium. I know I was for a moment.
Now the Lions have not had that much problem holding the Cardinals in check, and all of a sudden they break the big one. Little drills the extra point through. 2-minute warning. 1 minute 56 seconds left to play in the first half, and we've got a ball game. The Lions 10 and the Cardinals 7. 80-yard touchdown drive, 3 plays. Take a look at that last run by Gray and the possible clip there.
The key is if he, well, we've seen it a little bit late, but I think Tilly, I think it was a legal block. It looked like he got his head to the front side of the body rather than hitting him on the back there. And if I was the official, I would say it's a legal block. That's all I can say.
Since you're not the official,
That's right.
Steve Little in the advance. Arnold is deep at the goal line. Out to the 10, they pull a reverse. Oh! It does not fool the St. Louis Cardinals at all. Wayne Smith, number 44, took the ball on the reverse. We had a marker thrown, and apparently it's going to go against St. Louis.
And David Hill threw a block. He knocked 2 Cardinals out of there. You're going to see it coming right here. Boom! Bearfield was one of them, and boy, they went for a ride on that one. Whether they're going to call that a clip or not, I don't know. I don't see anything else that was wrong with the play. Do you?
Well, the penalty is going to be against St. Louis.
Did you? He must have hit him late.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 52. 52. First down.
Charles Baker, rookie linebacker of the Cardinals, guilty of the infraction. Fine tackle, by the way, by Ken Stone on that last play. Lions 1st and 10 at their 23. They have 2 timeouts left as we're in the 2-minute period. 1 minute 48 seconds left to play in the first half. Detroit leading 10-7. Here's Sims on the sweep. Billy Sims is out to the 25-yard line and knocked out of bounds after a pickup of 3 yards by Roger Worley. Coming up very shortly, the NFL Today scores. We'll have highlights of all the games for you. And in addition, some special features, including Jack Whitaker's Legends of the Game today, featuring the former All-Pro guard of the Green Bay Packers, Jerry Kramer. Danielson almost picked off. Tim Carney, number 56, the middle linebacker, with a shot at the interception. One of the defensive co-captains of the St. Louis Cardinals. It'll be 3rd and 7.
St. Louis has a whole batch of good linebackers. Carney's been bothered by a shoulder. And when you're a linebacker, it's kind of tough to play this game if you got a sore shoulder. But they have speedy, good, tough linebackers.
1 minute 35 left in the half. It is 3rd down 7. Detroit with the football at their 25-yard line. This crowd of 80,000 in the Silver Dome stunned by that touchdown of St. Louis. Pass over the middle to Sims. Look out. Got the first at the 39-yard line. Oh, you get it to him in the open field, and it's murder. Eric Williams, 55 on the stop.
He just brought him out of the backfield, and it's hard to believe. I know the Oklahoma style of offense, that this man caught only 3 passes in 3 years of high school and 4 years of college football. It's just hard to believe. He has soft hands, and I guess it's going to take Monty Clark to take advantage of him.
That's his 2nd reception of the afternoon, and a timeout here by the Lions leaves them with 1 minute and 27 seconds left to play in the half. They'll have a 1st and 10 at their own 39-yard line as Danielson comes over to check signals with his head coach Monty Clark. Monty, of course, a one-time Dallas Cowboy, Cleveland Brown player, and served under Don Shula as an assistant at Miami, helping build the great offensive lines the Dolphins had in their heyday.
Then he went to San Francisco, and then now to Detroit. Danielson kind of reminds me of the old Detroit quarterback Tobin Rote when he runs. I don't know if the Lion fans agree with me, but I remember those long strides that Tobin Rote used to have. I mean,
you don't go back that far, Johnny.
Well, I was just a little boy then.
First and 10, Detroit. Lions with the football at their 39, trying to get close enough to give Eddie Murray another shot at a field goal. He's 1 out of 3. Look out. Got it away, and this time Sims couldn't hold it. Tried to reach up with the left hand behind him. Big rush by the St. Louis Cardinals, Ron Jankowski, number 78, who came barreling through from the right side and forced Danielson to hurry his throw.
He was coming from the blind side, but I think Danielson kind of felt him come. They have a sixth sense there, but he threw the pass off, then took his punishment like any good quarterback should. As you look at Jankowski,
he's been around for a while too, playing in his 10th year. Former Kansas State product. Second and 10. Lions at their 39. Trying to set up the screen, and Sims, the intended receiver, fell down. I don't believe anybody touched him.
I think Keith Dorney, he fell over his own tackle, I believe, as he was setting up the screen. You'll see number 70, Dorney, out there to the left of your screen in just a second. And Sims didn't see him and just tripped and stumbled over him right there. And when they look at the films, Billy's going to say, "Those big linemen, please get out of my way." But he'll say it nicely.
Here comes Sims out of the game, and Rick Kane checks in at a running back. 1:17 now left in the half. It is 3rd and 10. Detroit with the ball at their 39-yard line. They lead at 10-7. Downfield intended for Kane, and it's intercepted. See if he was out of bounds. Collier came down with the football. Both men were out of bounds.
Well, that time the Lions threw right into St. Louis's zone, and Collier was back, the deep man, and he was waiting for that play. St. Louis had a defense very well. You're going to see Collier down there just waiting. He makes the catch, but let's see. One, no.
Not even close. Rick Kane, the intended receiver, led the Lions with 44 yards rushing last time these two teams met, which was in 1978. That game was won by St. Louis. Skladany in to do the punting with 1:09 left in the half. Pretty good rush, gets it away. Willard Harrell standing back on his 18. Trying to get to the far sideline. Now tries the reverse direction. And that, you'd have to say, just flat excellent coverage. Now the Lions specialty unit, their punt coverage unit, which dropped St. Louis back at the 13-yard line. Ken Calicut, number 31, was the first man down. Cardinals have all their timeouts left, but you can see they only have 58 seconds.
That's a lot of time in professional football if your quarterback knows what he's doing, and of course Jim Hart does. We should credit Wayne Smith was in there to really help make that tackle too. He was the first man down and then made it possible for the rest of the special team.
First and 10, Cardinals at their 13-yard line. Hart with the sideline route. Tilley is wide open at the 30-yard line and out of bounds at the 38. Once again, that young man has a tendency to get amazingly open.
As you saw, they took the back out, went straight down the field, and Weaver went much too far to the inside. He may have been out of position on that play.
Run out of bounds by Walt Williams. But the Cardinals pick up a first down at their 36. They don't have to use a timeout. They still have all 3 of their timeouts left. That play used up just 7 seconds, so there's 51 seconds left on the clock here in the first half. St. Louis first down from their 36. Hart goes to Anderson. Anderson is up to the 40 and reaches forward to the 41-yard line, and now the Cardinals will call time. Charlie Weaver, veteran linebacker on the left side, number 59, making the stop.
As Jim Hart heads over for Jim Hanifin to discuss what they're going to do. Hannafin, of course, had a lot to do with the old Cardiac Cardinals a few years ago.
He coached the offensive line back in '75 when they set an NFL record and allowed their quarterback to be sacked just 8 times all year, which is an amazing mark. Then, of course, he stuck with the Cardinals a couple of years, went out to San Diego with Don Coryell last year and got the opportunity to come back this year. The players love him. They really like him.
And you notice he had that sheet of paper, which of course is the short list, which has the plays down in yardage situation, like 3rd and 10 or more, or 3rd and 2, or 2nd and long, or 2nd and short. And the coaches always go to that sheet just to know, make sure that they are sticking to the game plan. And that's all devised after watching films of the Detroit defense. And of course you have to make adjustments sometimes when things go wrong.
It'll be 2nd down and 6 needed for the first down. Excellent figures on Hart here in the first half. Keep in mind now he needs 50 yards or thereabouts to reach the 30,000 career mark, which he may very well do this afternoon. St. Louis from its 41-yard line, 42 seconds left to play in the first half. Cardinals trying to get on the scoreboard again. Anderson at the 45 and is stopped at the St. Louis 47 again by Charlie Weaver, number 59. Cardinals use their 2nd timeout, leaves them with 1. And I was interested last night as you look at Hannafin and Jim Hart in a comment that was made to us by Joe Sullivan of the Cardinals front office. We got back to talking a little bit about Bud Wilkinson, and he said Bud kept telling this football team that they were doing great and got them all built up, but they weren't doing that great. That's one of the big problems that Hannafin has this year. I guess kick somebody in the seat of the pants every once in a while.
Yeah. Jim Hart has looked really, for a man that's on a 1-year contract, has looked very good this whole season. And he went on a weight program during the offseason, said he got his weight redistributed a little bit. You and I know about that, right?
Right.
It goes from the shoulder to the tummy in a hurry, but you get on those weights and get a little diet, you can weigh the same, but be in a little bit better shape and even look better, because you look in the mirror and you look good, makes you feel good.
He also says that as a result of that weight program, his arm is a lot stronger this year than it has been in recent years, and he's thrown the football very well.
It hasn't helped his speed too much.
No, but he never was a speed guy.
He never claimed to be one, but you don't have to. If he has a knack, usually of when the sack is almost there, he can dump it off. He doesn't get beat up too much, although he was injured some last year, I think.
There's the view from beyond the end zone. If you were looking at the Cardinals going in the other direction, disappearing over the horizon, as it were. 1st and 10, St. Louis at their 47. 31 seconds left to play in the half. They have 1 timeout left. And Hart under pressure winds up and lets it go. Intended for Marsh, the tight end, and almost intercepted. Boy, he was thrown into triple coverage that time as Luther Bradley, the former Notre Damer, number 27, almost had the pickoff.
You hit it right on the head, Frank. You know, there was a case where he probably could have run for 10 or 12 or maybe more yards, but he chose to throw it, and he did throw into a lot of coverage, triple coverage.
2nd and 10, clock stops with 23 seconds to go. We mentioned at the outset both starting quarterbacks, free agents. Well, when Hart came up his first year, taxi squad, and then his 2nd season, Charlie Johnson got called into the Army, remember, just before opening day, and all of a sudden this youngster, free agent, the year before, found himself a starting quarterback in the NFL. 2nd and 10. Blitz. They hold him off good. Intended for Telly at the 30-yard line. He was about to break into the clear there. And had Hart had another 2.5 seconds or so, he could have found him. That'll set up 3rd down and 10 needed for the first down. You can see the time remaining in the first half as the Cardinals continue to try to maneuver to get into field goal position for a 3-pointer that could tie this game before halftime.
Well, you have to either go now with 2 passes to the outside or 1 over the middle with a little depth to it and call a timeout.
1 timeout left. Unless they'd like to save that for the possible shot at the field goal attempt. See if he goes for the sideline routes here. 3rd and 10. Cardinals from their 47. Nobody but blue shirts around that one. Well, that runs the clock down to 12 seconds and sets up a punting situation for St. Louis. Larry Swider will come on to do the kicking. Picked up on waivers by the Cardinals from this Detroit club. By the way, the Cardinals defensive backfield coach Bill Atkins coached the defensive backs at Detroit last year, so he's very familiar with that unit. Swider is in to do the punting. Arnold is deep, so is Calicut. Looks like the Lions are going to go with just a token rush here.
Oh,
what a high kick this is. On the fly in the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line and have time to run one play before intermission. 2 seconds left to play in the first half. The Lions leading the Cardinals 10-7.
That punt didn't actually come too far from the ceiling, and that's 202 feet high here. That was an awful high punt. This is quite a facility here at the Silverdome.
It is indeed. This does not have a gondola scoreboard arrangement like the Superdome does, so the punters don't have anything to shoot at except the roof itself.
Do you know they have 52,000 cubic yards of concrete in this building?
I didn't know that, John. Anything else you'd like to tell me? We have a lot of people on here too right now. 80,000 right at capacity as Danielson simply hangs onto the football to run out the clock here in the first half. Interesting first half of football. Scoreless in the first period, then things opened up a bit in the second. And we're at halftime with the Lions leading the Cardinals 10-7. Back in a moment. Frank Lieber along with Johnny Morris back at the Pontiac Silverdome. We're at halftime with the Detroit Lions leading the St. Louis Cardinals by a score of 10-7. Field goal kickers looked a little rusty at the outset, Johnny, with Murray missing a couple and then Little missing a couple, but things picked up.
Yes, they did. Actually, it was Detroit's ball game until that one really big play with Mel Gray for the touchdown and a good block by Pat Tilley, which kind of stunned the crowd, I think, because they were expecting maybe a penalty would be called. But it was the big play that put St. Louis back in this game, so it belongs to anybody because the second half will be a whole new half. They go in there and revise strategy, and I think they're going to open up. You and I both, on the way to the ballpark, figured this would be a fairly high-scoring game, and thus far, it has not been that way.
You got to give the Cardinals credit. They've held Billy Sims in check pretty well in the first half.
Yes, he's got a couple of key passes on him, but as far as the ground game is concerned, they have held Billy Sims, and I know that was one of their objectives going into this game, to hold Sims down. He's, of course, trying to get 3 straight games, become the first man to rush over 100 yards in his first 3 games in the NFL. Right now, he's off track, and will have to do much better in the second half to get it. So I'd say the St. Louis Cardinal overall defensive game plan has worked so far.
Detroit, on the other hand, seemed to have things pretty well under control. Didn't you think so up until that bomb? All of a sudden it kind of turned around a little bit.
One play, that's the name of the game in football. Sometimes one play can signal a change, and it puts St. Louis right back in the game, and it's a crucial one. This is their backs are against the wall, and I know that if they go home 3-0, it's going to be a rough go. So this is as big as 13th game of the season.
Lions, of course, haven't won their first 3 games since 1970. In fact, when they won their first 2 games here in the last 2 weeks, their first 2 victories in a row since 1975. So it's been a long drought. But they've started out with 2 wins, which matches their total for the entire 1979 season. And they're off and running, and certainly got the fans excited here in Detroit.
Sims had an average of 9.7 yards per every time he had the ball going into this game. That's almost 10 yards every time he carried the ball. So St. Louis has made that work to defense him.
Stay tuned as the NFL Today continues after this word from your local station.
Preceding message was furnished as a public service by the National Football League.
We're about to get the second half underway.
In 12 carries, which is not too big of an average.
The leading rusher in the first half has been Otis Anderson of the St. Louis Cardinals. He's picked up 52, and I imagine everyone is hurt.
Now we take a look at the other statistics. First downs are pretty close. Yards rushing is close, 67-60 in favor of Detroit. St. Louis has the edge in passing, 155 yards to 113. Total yards, the Cardinals have the advantage by about 30. And as you can see, Jim Hart is 12 of 21. Gary Danielson, 9 of 19. Time of possession, the Lions.
Lions lead at 10-7 as they try to make St. Louis their third straight victim of the young 1980 football season. We are ready for the opening kickoff here in the second half of play. And having the alternate option here in the second half, Detroit quite obviously wants the football. Steve Little back to kickoff. Little is 0 for 1 in the field goal department. Eddie Murray, on the other hand, 1 out of 3. The touchdowns, Horace King on the pass from Danielson. And, of course, the bomb from Jim Hart to Mel Gray. There's the whistle from the referee, Ben Reith, and the advance. Fine kickoff. Calicut fields it 8 yards deep in the end zone for Detroit. Elects not to run it out. So the Lions will get the football first and 10.
I think one of the Lions' first priorities will be to establish that running game and establish Billy Sims and try and get him some yards. And of course that always opens up the passing games. He'd like to have a good game. His wife is here. His mother is in from St. Louis and this week, and I think his wife is expecting a baby in a couple of months. So all kinds of big things are happening to Billy Sims, and he'd like to parlay that into another big day on the ground game.
Sims' birthday on Thursday was his 25th, which makes him one of the oldest rookies in the league this year. Not the oldest, because the Cardinals have a 26-year-old rookie. Rush Brown, the young defensive end. Here's Sims. Trying to get around Roger Worley, number 22, and maintain his balance, and he couldn't quite do it.
The Detroit Lions just caved the Cardinal left side of the defense there. Watch this, as it's kind of like a cross. You'll see one back go one way, the other way, and they really caved him in. And Worley really got kind of faked out here, but he got a hand on him, and Mr. Sims could not quite maintain his balance, and he was a little upset with himself, but it was a fine individual effort.
9 yards gives him 40 on the afternoon. 2nd and 1. Lions from their 29-yard line. Dexter Bussey hurdling over a couple of would-be tacklers across the 30-yard line and picks up the first down at the 32. Mike Dawson making the stop. I know this is an indoor stadium, but does it seem to you the humidity is a little high?
I think somebody turned the wrong button.
On the air conditioning,
yes.
Huh? Of course, you get this many people in here, it's going to be tough. But it is abnormally warm. Gary Danielson's first half work, 9 out of 19. Bussey played his college football, as we get a flag, at the University of Texas at Arlington under John Simak, former defensive back with the Green Bay Packers, and who recommended Bussey to the Detroit Lions.
Well, Bussey has moved over to more to the fullback slot, and he's not that big, you know, for the power back, 205, and that makes his job a little tougher because a lot of times that remaining back, when you're blocking for Sims, you got to pick up those big linebackers or even sometimes linemen. As you can see that the penalty is going against Detroit.
Ben Dryth, the referee, walking off a big one, 15 yards, moves it back to the 17.
Offense, number 39, crack back.
It's Leonard Thompson, the wide receiver, hitting the linebacker below the knees on the crackback.
Now, he could do that if he wasn't real wide. In other words, you have a limit there of a couple of yards, but if he's way out wide, you can't do that.
Which he was. That sets up a second down at 25. The reverse. Freddie Scott wound up with the football on the handoff from Billy Sims. Carried out to the 21, picked up 2, maybe 3 yards in the play. Not much there. Mark Arneson, number 57, on the stop for St. Louis. Lions, after their first 2 games, at 560 yards. Their total rushing, that's on the ground, their total rushing last year was 1,900. It's rather startling. Danielson floats it out down the far sideline, but out of the reach of the intended receiver, Freddie Scott, number 87.
Good job by Collier. He came up and put a jam on Scott in the legal zone and kind of disrupted the whole pass pattern, and it was thrown a little bit too far to the outside, and it would have been incomplete had he caught the ball.
So they're looking at 3rd and 22 now with the ball on the 21-yard line.
3rd and 22 could be tough. It's either got to be something across the middle, somebody in stride, or maybe a screen.
Frady to the left side, Scott to the right. Danielson goes over the middle. Not nearly enough for the first down as Bussey hauls in the pass and is dropped at the 29-yard line. So the Cardinals hold nicely. Fine stuff by Tim Carney, the middle linebacker, number 56, and forced Detroit to the punt.
Do you know what Billy Sims' biggest thrill in football has been? Able to stay healthy at Oklahoma for 2 years without an injury.
He did have some problems there. He was redshirted 1 year. Of course, he won the Heisman as a junior. Not many people can make that statement. Almost won it again as a senior. Harrell chasing this one down. Beautiful punt. Back to the 20. 25. Out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Fine punt by Tom Skladany of the Detroit Lions. 11 minutes, 50 seconds left to play in the 3rd period. Lions lead the Cardinals here in Pontiac, 10-7. Back after this.
Copier companies have been introducing small copiers with a very interesting claim.
It's just as good as a Xerox.
It's just as good as a Xerox.
Then one day,
This compact copier is very versatile. It even copies on your own letterhead. It's inexpensive, but best of all...
I know, it's just as good as a Xerox.
It is a Xerox.
the Xerox 2600, the compact copier that really is just as good as a Xerox.
He came to serve his country and went on trial for murder. Brad Davis and an all-star cast based on a true story, A Rumor of War, a special movie presentation Wednesday.
St. Louis with the football, 1st and 10 at their 35-yard line. Early in the 3rd period of play, Cardinals trail it by a score of 10-7. Gray to the left side, Tilley to the right, and the handoff is to Anderson. 1 tough yard, and that's it. Stacked up on the right side of the Detroit defensive line. Stan White, number 52, leading the charge.
And John Woodcock, number 77, was in on the tackle from behind. He's playing with some sore ribs, and they don't look sore on that play, do they?
No, not at all. He moved very nicely. Some question about Woodcock even playing in this football game after he banged up his ribs. There's the big guy, sat out last year with a back operation. 2nd and 9, St. Louis. Cardinals at their 36. Again, Gray in motion. Hart gets it away. Mel Gray at the 43-yard line. Not quite enough for the first down as he was shoved out of bounds on the near sideline. Williams came over quickly, and Allen, number 40, to assist.
Good play for Jim Hart under pressure. Mendenhall was bearing down, and Hart just stood his ground, and flinged that ball on target.
3rd down. Cardinals going to need a long yard for the first down. Ball is at the 43-yard line. St. Louis end of the field. Wayne Morris and Otis Anderson, the running backs behind Hart. They give it to O.J. He's got the first and more as he catapults into Lions territory and is finally... Good blocking along the way by number 80 there, too. Chris Combs, who is a rookie tight end in that double tight end setup. 1st and 10. St. Louis at the Lion 46-yard line. Going for the equalizer here. Anderson breaks to the outside. Couldn't quite get to the corner. And he was pinned. Weaver wouldn't let him go, number 59. And then Bradley, number 27, came up to finish him off.
There's an interesting game, an 0-2 team against a 2-0. Buffalo 14-13 over New Orleans.
Several of those type of matchups today, including the Jets in San Francisco and this one here. Second down, loss of a yard on the play. Cardinals need 11 for the first down from the Lion 47-yard line. Woodcock, number 77.
A little twist here as Woodcock came around, and Deerdorf and Banks got confused and both blocked one man as Woodcock came around and put the clamps on Jim Hart. A little twist by the Detroit defensive lineman that confused the right side of the Cardinal offensive line, Deerdorf and Banks. They both ended up blocking Purifoy while Woodcock went around the horn and got through clean and slick on Jim Hart. Good twist by the Lions.
Cardinals back in their end of the field now at the 44-yard line. They have a 3rd and 21. Hart trying to get him out of the hole. Completes the pass to Tilley at midfield, but not nearly enough for the first down. Again, Charlie Weaver, 10-year veteran, number 59, making the stop.
There's another twist, as you saw by the Lions line. Tilley comes right across the middle, and Hart leads him. But there was Mr. Charlie Weaver to prevent the long gainer, and of course it's a 4th down situation for St. Louis. They'll give him that when you got 4th and 20 or 30 to go.
That's Tilley's 5th reception of the afternoon. 4th and 14. Swider in to do the punting, and Arnold, number 47, is deep for Detroit. 7:55 left to play in the 3rd period. Angling to the near sideline, Arnold at the 15. Across the 20 and crawls out to the 23. Pretty good return.
He always seems to get an extra 2 or 3 yards. They got him on their gong show, didn't they?
That's right. A free agent signed from their tryout camp. Timeout here in Pontiac. 1st and 10 from their 24-yard line. 7 minutes, 43 seconds left to play in the 3rd period. Detroit leading 10-7. Pace of this football game, which was up in the 2nd period, is quieted down again here in the 3rd quarter. Sims driving across the 30 out to the 31-yard line. By the way, they have 80,027 in attendance today. 411 no-shows. They want to come see the Lions play here in the Detroit area.
You know, they really haven't run that reverse. They've run a reverse with Sims a couple of times throughout the early part of the season. They haven't run it. They're running more from the I formation with Sims, too.
2nd and 3 from the 30. Danielson for Scott. Fine catch. And then took the punishment from Collier, who belted him as he caught the football at the 49-yard line. He really went up for this.
Yes, Danielson took some punishment, too, but when he gets that inside quick post, there's not much you can do it if there's no linebacker in front. You see the clean zone through there. The ball was high. Collier puts the hit on, but a nice grab by Scott for the first down, and Danielson took his punishment afterwards, too, because Dawson put a hit on him. So a well-executed play. Everybody took punishment. Everybody came out healthy.
Lions 1st and 10 as the officials mark it at the Detroit 48-yard line. Thompson is wide to the right side. Scott is flanked off to the left as Gary Danielson calls the signals for Detroit, leading 10-7 here in the 3rd period. Danielson lets it go and overshoots the intended target, Dexter Bussey, at the St. Louis 47-yard line. See if we got a marker down here. I don't think so. I didn't see a flag, did you?
No, I didn't. The problem there was that there were a bunch of St. Louis defensive linemen in Danielson's way, and he really couldn't see his receiver very well. He had to throw up and over them and just kind of misfired.
You see Freedy there, number 86, bringing the next play in from the bench. They are actually called down from above. Bob Schnelker, the offensive coordinator, is upstairs here in the press box, relays it down to Monty Clark, and then on to the wide receiver and into the quarterback. 2nd and 10. Lions at their 48. Scott in motion, a lot of pressure, flag down. And finally, Jankowski comes up with a sack of Danielson at the 40-yard line. That St. Louis defensive line really showed its stuff on that play. One of their big problems this year, the Cardinals mustering a pass rush. They're second lowest in the league in number of traps coming into this game. With the trap, of course, St. Louis will take the play, decline the penalty, which was holding on the Detroit Lions' Russ Bollinger. So the ball goes back to the 40-yard line, a loss of 8 on the trap. It is 3rd and 18. Lion offense having trouble getting on track here in the third period. 6 minutes, 7 seconds remaining in the quarter. Again, the blitz, and they jam it up good as Sims gets the handoff and has no running room whatsoever. Stopped at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
I think they smelled that one. Eric Williams, number 55, put the blitz on. He almost took the handoff. Here comes 55. He almost got the handoff as he jolted Sims and Danielson and really disrupted the play. And, of course, his teammates came in and finished the job, and St. Louis is going to get the ball.
Timed that blitz just perfectly, did Mr. Williams. Skladany had to do the punting. His last one was good for 53. Interesting comment from Eddie Murray, the line place kicker, who says the ball goes further in this stadium with people in the stands.
That's because there's a lot of hot air around.
Harrell at the 10-yard line, trying to regain his balance, and is dropped at the 16. Lions coverage team's been doing an excellent job all afternoon long. St. Louis gets the football back at their own 16-yard line. We've got a timeout here in the third period with 5 minutes and 12 seconds left to play. Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. Lions and the Cardinals in a tight one, 10-7. Detroit leads it. Cardinals 1st and 10 at their 16-yard line as we play in the third period. Jim Hart back to throw for St. Louis and completing yet another one. This to Doug Marsh, the rookie tight end from Michigan, who is the Cardinals' leading receiver coming into this game. He caught 9 in the first 2 games, including 7 last week. Of course, their number 1 pick, Curtis Greer, is also from Michigan. He's out of the lineup right now on the 4-week injured list after suffering a concussion. They feel he's a good one, and Marsh they really like. Pick up a 4 on that play. Second down, well, let's call it 7. And the pickup was actually closer to 3 yards. Lions with the blitz, and Anderson broke up the middle and picks up the first down out to the 32-yard line. Now that shows you what happens when the blitz doesn't work. Linebacker got through almost too fast that time. Charlie Weaver, 59.
You can see him, they ran right by the ball carrier. Fantetti's in there too, 57, ran out of the play. There's Brad Oates, 65, looking around, said, "Can I help you along?" So he did help him along. And finally it was Weaver who made the shirt sleeve tackle. And they don't allow tearaway jerseys anymore, or Otis Anderson might have been gone for a long way.
Cardinals 1st and 10 at their 31-yard line. Hart, some confusion there, but he gets the pass away to Tilley. And again, Williams seemed to stumble on the play. And by the time he recovered, Tilley had caught the football. And the Cardinals have another first down at the 46 of Detroit.
And the reason he stumbled was because he was faked out by Tilley, who put a great up move and then turned back to the corner. Let's take a look as the fake and the fake of the reverse, and you'll see Tilley just turns up the sidelines and then cuts back, and Williams thought he was going to go deep and was way out of position, and Pat Tilley catches another key pass for the St. Louis Cardinals. And here he is. Let's watch him. Fake, then he turns on the speed, cuts back as Williams, he drove him off 5 yards. Great move, and then first down.
Back to live action now. 1st and 10. Cardinals handoff up the middle, goes to Wayne Morris. Morris takes it down to the 43-yard line before he is stacked up. By the way, that last pass completion unofficially put Jim Hart at 208 yards. Now he needed 205, and at 205 he now has 30,000 career yards. He's still a little behind Fran Tarkenton, who wound up with 47,000.
Yeah. Can you name the other guys?
I could name several, I'll bet. Unitas and Jurgensen and Hadel. 2nd and 7. Anderson trying to break it outside, but the blue shirts are there and won't let him go. Fine coverage by James Hunter, number 28, coming up from the right cornerback position to make the stop. Officials will mark it at the 44-yard line. That'll set up 3rd down and 9. So Hart now with 16 out of 25 for 208 yards, or 30,003 for his NFL career. The pass to Tilley put him over the 30,000 mark. It's got to be a great moment for him. Veteran quarterback who dates back to 1966, playing in his 15th year. Otis Brown had split the seam there. He was right between Allen, number 40, the defensive back, and ahead of Charlie Weaver. And had Hart been able to drop that in there, that could have been a touchdown. 4th down. And Swider, the former Lion, comes out to do the punting. Lions could find no fault with Swider's punting, but they had Skladany, who missed most of last year with an injury back in camp. He was wound up with too much talent at that position. Arnold is deep, standing back at the 10-yard line. 1:36 left in the 3rd period. They took too much time.
I'll tell you what I think was going to happen. That's just as a guess, but I think maybe the Cardinals had a fake punt on, and you may have noticed if we can see the alignment, the Lions had 4 men about 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, not normally a punt return type of a formation, and they had a hunch that maybe the Cardinals had something up their sleeves, and I think that may have been the reason for this delay.
Offense false start, number 36.
Well, I thought they got him on the 32nd clock, but apparently not. So move the Cardinals back to the 50-yard line now. 4th down, 14. Swider standing on his 35 as he awaits the snap. Good snap. Good kick.
Oh, sure is.
Into the end zone on the fly. Detroit gets the football at the 20-yard line. We've got a penalty marker down. There was a flag thrown back at the line of scrimmage. It's going to go against St. Louis. Ineligible receiver downfield is the preliminary indication. And there's a good possibility the Lions may decline this. Let's see. Stan White, the defensive captain, number 52, looking over to the bench for guidance.
Ineligible man, number 84, was downfield. Decline the penalty. That's 1st down on a 20.
So that's the situation. We can't tell you any more than that. 1:25 left to play in the 3rd period. No scoring here in the 2nd half as Detroit clings to the 3-point advantage over St. Louis. Lions ball, 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line. You get the feeling that any minute here something is going to explode in this football game. Somebody's going to come up with a very, very big play that may turn it around. Hasn't happened yet. Danielson falling down as he executed the handoff, but he got it away nevertheless to Dexter Bussey, who carried it out to the 24-yard line.
Let's take a look at that handoff as Danielson kind of stumbled backwards, still got the ball up, and it's a good thing nobody was flying after Mr. Danielson. He could have been embarrassed on his derriere. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think that's that'll do, Johnny. I couldn't do it any better. 2nd and 6. Look at the Vikings are doing to the Bears. What's happening to your old team?
Oh my God, 28-0.
Our score 10-7 Detroit as we play in the 3rd period. Danielson under pressure, flushed out of the pocket, and he is sacked back at the 15-yard line. Good pressure again by Ron Jankowski, number 78, the veteran defensive end. Boy, they really given Danielson the hot breath treatment.
That's right. Dawson was in there also. They put a lot of pressure on him that time, and now the Lions are in a situation that teams do not like to be in. 3rd and very long yardage to go.
Leonard Thompson, number 39, coming in with the play from the bench.
The Cardinals will no doubt go to their nickel defense. No.
3rd down, 15. Ball is at the 15-yard line. Woo. A lot of movement prior to the snap. I think Williams tried to do what he did successfully a few moments ago and time that blitz just perfectly. He pulled it off last time, but not this time. top of that, he got Dawson moving as well.
He took his chances with a long yardage to go.
He made contact. Defense made contact.
He certainly did. Nose of the ball just beyond the 20, so 5-yard penalty makes it a 3rd and 10 for the Lions. Cardinals return home to face Philadelphia next week. Lions go against those Minnesota Vikings who've been so devastating against Chicago today. They give us to Sims. Sims has got the first down at the 31-yard line. Finally tackled by Ken Green, number 37, but Cardinals obviously looking for pass, and Sims came up with the rush. Time has run out. The gun has sounded here, indicating the end of the 3rd period of play, with the Lions leading 10-7. Lions trying to get something going here as we start the 4th period of play at the Pontiac Silverdome. After Sims picked up that last first down, they're now moving from their own 31-yard line with a 1st and 10. Billy Sims, in the first 3 periods, has 57 yards rushing and 16 carries. And there's the book on Gary Danielson, the Detroit quarterback, who has already thrown more this afternoon, 23 attempts, than in either of the Lions' first 2 games. The reason, quite obviously, is that the rushing game hasn't been working nearly as well as it did against Los Angeles and Green Bay. 1st and 10 Lions at their 31-yard line. 80,000 on hand here at the Silverdome in Pontiac. Sims trying to get outside and couldn't turn that corner as Carney, number 56, the middle linebacker, made the stop.
Let's watch Carney come across the line, take on Elias, and then do the job on the tackle. Good play by Eric Williams and Tim Carney.
No gain. It is 2nd and 10. Billy Sims, who has scored 5 touchdowns in his first 2 games to lead the league in scoring. That's Sims. And that's a play that the Lions used very successfully against Green Bay. They call it a halfback reverse. And he carries it out to the 38, picks up 8 on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 2. Everybody goes one way, and they give it to Sims, and he goes the other way.
And it almost broke. Roy Green made a pretty good tackle there. If he had gotten around Green, he could have gone for some big yardage.
Sims is going to get a breather. Replaced by Rick Kane, number 32. Officials mark it at the 37. They have to reach just beyond the 40 for the first down, so call it 3rd and 3. And they get it. Dexter Bussey out to the 45-yard line. 2nd first down in this drive for the Lions. Eric Williams making the stop. Bussey is a fine football player, as we've mentioned several times, and is moving right up on the chart of the all-time Lion rushers. He's just got a couple ahead of him right now, Nick Petrosanti and Aldy Taylor. Been a very consistent runner. 1st and 10. Detroit at the 45-yard line. Long drive and a touchdown will be very important at this stage of the game. Kane trying to climb the mountain. Reaches the 48 of Detroit. Pickup of 3. It'll be 2nd down 7.
The Lions have kind of pulled in their horns as far as the throwing game is concerned. They're trying to really grind this one out.
They'd be content right now to move down the field, run off a lot of time, and score a touchdown. Detroit hasn't beaten St. Louis since 1973. They lost the last 2 meetings, one in 1975 and one in 1978. Of course, these 2 clubs don't play that often. Reverse. Leonard Thompson, 50. Down to the 47-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Not enough for the first down. He's going to be a couple of yards shy. It'll be 3rd down. They'll need a long 2, looks like. Maybe 3. Carney making the stop. Thompson can fly, even though he's had knee surgery. He used to go 4.3 in the 40. Now he's around 4.5 as Carney comes off the field, limping just slightly, and is replaced at the linebacker slot by Calvin Favron.
Another 3rd 2, 3rd 3 situation. The last time they ran the ball, did not pass it, and they're going from the I, which would indicate probably a run.
And they get the first down as Billy Sims back in the lineup. Crashes across the 45 down to the 44. Good charge by that offensive line.
It certainly was, and they run from the eye. Let Billy survey the field, and the line just caved back that left side of the Cardinal defensive line, and they got the first down. That's 6 straight runs for Detroit.
And the clock has run off now the first 4 minutes of the last period. 11 minutes left to go in the football game. Detroit leading 10-7. All the scoring in the second period of this game. No scoring in either the first or the third. Danielson with a nice fake goes over the middle to Thompson. First down at the 28. Ken Green, number 37 on the stop.
There's Leonard Thompson at the top of your screen. He goes down after the fake of the run, comes across the middle, right in traffic, and Danielson puts it right on the numbers. Good play. Ken Green with the tackle, along with Collier. First down, Detroit.
Ball is spotted at the 26-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Mike Freedy, the rookie wide receiver, off to the left side at the top of your screen. Scott set inside of him. Kane and King are the setbacks. Bussey and Sims get a rest. Rick Kane for the 24. Give him a couple on the play. It'll be second down, 8. Hard runner.
You're going to see Calvin Favron get in on this tackle, number 59. Boy, he really puts a shoulder right into Kane as he hit the line of scrimmage, and Favron really laid the wood to Mr. Kane, made him earn that yard and a half.
By the way, Tommy Ginn, number 66, has been at center for the Lions since Fowler has been hurt. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati tightening up. There's the man that scored the only touchdown of the football game, Horace King, on that last handoff. Moves it inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. As we said, a very, very impressive drive by the Lions. As the clock now running down to the 9-minute mark in the football game. They've held the ball since the quarter started, haven't they?
Yes, they have, and it's muscle football. They're playing basically muscle.
Third down, Lions need 2 for the first down. From the 18-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Sims. I don't know. I don't believe he made it.
Big decision coming up for Monty Clark on the Detroit Lions.
It would appear they're going to go for it. He sent in a second tight end, Ulysses Norris, number 80, so they'll go from a double tight end setup. Fourth down, 1, and the fans love it.
And this is a situation where the Cardinal linebackers, everybody's going to have to take a little guess. Try and hit that hole and just tee off and hope that the running back comes in the lane.
Biggest play of the game to this point. Bussey and Sims, the setbacks. Billy Sims. Let's see if he got it. It'll be close. Hit as he crossed the line of scrimmage, but Sims, who is mighty strong, deceptively so, weighs 208 pounds, a little under 5'11", and can bench press almost 400 pounds. That's awesome, even for a defensive lineman, much less a running back.
Yes, it is, and Steve Niels actually hit the hole right, the linebacker, and made the contact, but he couldn't prevent Sims from falling forward enough to get the first down for the Lions.
Ball is at the 16-yard line. It'll be first and 10. Bussey comes out. Kane comes in. Another one bites the dust. That's the Lions' theme song this year. They've adopted that from the rock group Queen as their motto.
There's no dust down there, only turf.
Number 73, Russ Bollinger, the right guard, 4-year veteran, jumped the snap count, so that'll move the Lions back 5 to the 21.
Offense false start, number 73.
Now 7 minutes and 45 seconds left to play in the game. Mike Freedy hustles in, replacing Thompson, with the next play from Monty Clark. First and 15, Detroit at the 21-yard line. Now the Jets have at least got on the scoreboard. Rick Kane. Down to the 15, to the 14, to 13-yard line. Hard runner and a very valuable man to have around. He's been a spot starter at times when people have been injured. Kane has filled in. This year, his job is the backup role to give Sims and Bussey a breather periodically. Second down. 7. Danielson will like quiet from the 80,000 assembled here. Ball is at the 13-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. Sims, 10-5, touchdown!
Billy Sims as number 61, Homer Elias, came across and threw the key block and knocked 2 men out of the play, and Sims high steps it in for the touchdown. Watch number 61, there's the key block, the pulling left guard. He hits Green, he hits Carney, and then the other Mr. Green misses the tackle, and Sims takes it on in. Boy, can he high step it. It looks like Walter Payton going across that end zone.
Lions ran off 8 minutes of the last quarter with that drive, which started down to the 20-yard line. Murray with the extra point. The kick is good. And Detroit gets a little breathing room. 17-7 Lions. Will return to the Silverdome after this word from your local station. Lions ready to kick off with 6 minutes and 59 seconds left to play in the game. They lead it 17-7. Harold is deep. So is Roy Green. Look at this kickoff. 5 yards deep in the end zone, and Green does not run it out. And I don't blame him. Eddie Murray, the Lion rookie place kicker from Tulane, a 7th-round draft choice, really pumped up and drilled that one deep. So the Cardinals will get the football at their 20-yard line. Now, those of you wondering how close Billy Sims is to 100 yards, he has 85 yards and 22 carries, so he needs 15 more to become the first player in the history of the National Football League to rush for better than 100 yards in his first 3 games. Jim Hart, trapped back at the 14-yard line. Big rush that time by William Gay, number 79. And also back there with him, Tom Tooney, number 71.
And you have to give some credit to the Lions' defensive backfield that time. Hart had a little time. He went forward in the pocket, but he could not find anybody open, and finally Gay put the clamps on him. And Hart is getting sacked more than he normally does today.
2nd and 16. Crowd chanting defense here at the Silverdome. Hart threw it behind the intended receiver, Tilley. Trying to reach back and get it. Tilley's been his favorite receiver this afternoon. He's caught 5 for 102 yards. Now the official yardage gives Sims 1 less than we gave you.
Well, I think Mr. Sims deserves a little bit of a rest. I thought he came up with a great line at their rookie camp. Each rookie has to introduce himself, and he said, "Hi, I'm the guy that's the reason you're not getting any raises this year." And he's been very well accepted by the Lions. He signed a big contract, but when you play like he's played these three weeks, the other Lions do not resent it.
3rd down, 16. Extra wide receiver Dave Stieff is in there for the St. Louis Cardinals. Hart back at his 5. Sacked at the 3-yard line, and the Cardinals will have to punt it out of the back of their end zone. Woodcock, number 77. That's got to be 2, maybe 3 sacks for him.
And he is supposed to be hurt. Hart just could not find anybody downfield. As they did another twist, Woodcock comes by Brad Oates and gets in by Otis Anderson and puts the clamps on Jim Hart for another sack for Woodcock, who was supposed to have sore ribs, and it looked like Otis didn't give it too good of an effort there on his pass blocking, but he does have that sore shoulder, and it's pretty tough to take on those hard-charging linemen.
Swider is in to do the punting, and he is backed up against the end line. Lions should come out of this with no worse than excellent field position. Now we get a flag for delay of game. course, they can't move them back much further than that.
There was a flag thrown way down the field even before the delay of game. I don't understand that procedure.
30-second clock had run down to 0.
Offense, delay the game.
Now Swider now does not have his normal 12-13 yards.
And with the Cardinal line in tight, you got to figure that Detroit's going to get good field position.
Arnold chasing this one to the far sideline. Takes a St. Louis hop, fielded at the 50. John Arnold to the 45. Still on his feet at the 40. Run out of bounds at the 35-yard line.
Boy, he is something else, isn't he? John Arnold.
So the Lions come up with excellent field position. A first down at the Cardinal 35 when we head back to play. There's the time remaining, 5 minutes and 27 seconds. Lions leading the Cardinals 17-7. And Detroit with a first down at the St. Louis 35-yard line. Billy Sims to the 34, picks up 1. Jim Hart, by the way, has been sacked a total of 5 times. Danielson twice. And Sims now trying to zero in on 100 yards. Same opportunity that Otis Anderson had last year as a rookie for St. Louis. After picking up 100 yards his first 2 games, better than 100. In fact, he picked up 300 total in those first 2 games. He went to Pittsburgh and was held to 37 yards by the Steelers. And now Sims trying to become the first man to go over 100 in his first 3 NFL games. He has 86. 2nd and 8. Dexter Bussey gets a yard or so. It'll be 3rd and 7, but of course the clock continues to move on, and that's become the ally of the Detroit Lions right now as they lead it by 10. 4.5 minutes left to play in the game and counting.
Well, this is a definite passing situation, but with the score 17-7 down deep in the territory, they may not want to take a risk on the pass unless it's some kind of a sure.
Of course, Murray can kick it this far if they run into a field goal situation. It would be a 50-yard kick, but he's made one from 52. Sims. Oh. First down at the 23-yard line. What an impressive rookie this young man is.
That was a great run, what you call a clutch run on 3rd and 7. It won't be the longest run he ever made, but what a spin out. He spun right out of a tackle, as you're going to see him come in and collide with linebacker Carney, I believe it was, right here, and just spins right out of it. It was Eric Williams that he came out of, and finally Green brings him down, but not before. Billy Sims gets another first down for Detroit, and that's a real big play now.
And comes out of the game. To get a breather, Rick Kane has replaced him. 1st and 10, Lions at the St. Louis 23. Clock down to 3:15. Kane to the 22-yard line. Sims is now at 94 yards unofficially. He needs 6 more. And I hope they realize that down on the Detroit bench and send him back in here. Less than 3 minutes to go now. 2nd and 9. Lions at the 22-yard line. Detroit leading 17-7. Sims touchdown a moment ago, the only score of the second half. Kane and King are the setbacks behind Danielson. Horace King, who scored the first Lions touchdown, to the 18. It'll be 3rd down. Here comes Sims. Clock is going to run down to the 2-minute warning. Danielson has already made his move to the Lions bench. They're just going to let it run down to the 2-minute warning and stop at that point for the automatic timeout. There it is. Timeout for the 2-minute warning here at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. The Lions are leading 17-7, and they're driving from the St. Louis 18-yard line. Lions have a 3rd down and 5 from the St. Louis 18 as we go back to work. There's Billy Sims. And you have to believe on this next play that they'll give him the football. Now, this could be his last opportunity to carry the ball because they give it up here, they may not get it back. He needs 6 yards to go over 100 and become the first NFL player ever to go over 100 yards rushing in his first 3 games. He did not get the 6, he got 3. It'll be 4th down. And now the Cardinals going to call time. Field goal unit is coming on for the Detroit Lions. The Cardinals have called timeout with 1:53 left to play in the game, and the Lions leading 17-7. Lions coming out. 4th down, needing 4 for the first down. Murray with a 34-yard field goal attempt. He's 1 out of 3 on the afternoon. His first 2 misses of the year. Little frosting on the cake. That makes it a 20-7 Detroit lead with 1:49 left to play in the game. And again, we'll be back at the Pontiac Silverdome right after this. Eddie Murray getting ready to kick off. He's actually a Canadian and was recruited down to Tulane in New Orleans.
He's from Nova Scotia. That's part of Canada, I guess. Or is it?
I believe so. Last time I checked. Roy Green at the 2-yard line. Out to the 10. Hauled it at the 13-yard line. And again, that shows you what those high kickoffs can do. Time they come down, they just don't have enough time to run them back before the coverage is there.
And Detroit players are really stoked up now because they've got the Cardinals on the run, and they're going to be teeing off now after Jim Hart like they did the last time St. Louis had the ball. You have to give a lot of credit to the Lions defense. There's a lot of talk about Billy Sims, and he's done great today. But the Lion defense has held St. Louis thus far to 7 points.
We had it offside on the kickoff.
Offside! Turn on the microphone, you dumb son of a gun.
The mic works.
The mic works. We just found that out. It's Ben Dreith, the referee. Well, you know, you have trouble with those mic every once in a while. I get a little frustrated.
You'd think he'd smile a little bit. This game's almost over. He's ready to go catch a plane and go home.
So a 5-yard walk-off against Detroit. Moves it back to the 30-yard line, and Murray will do his number from there. Cardinals quite obviously take the penalty.
That was a good angle to see this kickoff because you can see how high and how the receiver has to follow that ball, and it becomes so high like that, and you can see the coverage get down there.
It is still so amazing to watch Murray because he is a soccer-style kicker, and these guys normally line drive their kickoffs very deep. Normally it's the straightaway kickers like Mosley from Washington who get that great height. And watch him here.
Well, there's a line drive. Boy, there goes our whole chain of thought.
Cardinals lost it. Free football. Who got it? St. Louis comes up with the ball at the 32-yard line. The recovery was made by Randy Love, number 40. Love missed it the first time around, and then the ensuing scramble, he recovered the fumble. Cardinals have a couple of timeouts left, 1:35 left to play in the game, but I'm afraid it's going to be a long ride back to St. Louis and a very unhappy 47th birthday for head coach Jim Hannafin. Coming up next on most of these CBS stations, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys from Texas Stadium. Cowboys trying to bounce back after Denver took care of them last week. Theodis Brown on the receiving end of that pass from Hart. He picks up a first down out to the 44-yard line. Hart got all tangled up with Bubba Baker. And St. Louis will call time here, which will leave him with 1.
Bubba gives Jim a little pat on the head. Says, sorry about that. We'll see you next time. They'll be playing each other twice.
They mentioned Tampa Bay and Dallas. If the Cowboys should beat Tampa Bay, Detroit will have gone from worst to first. They'll be undisputed leaders in the NFC Central Division with a record of 3-0.
And 2 of those victories would have been on the road.
So they're in pretty good shape with the Minnesota Vikings coming into the Silverdome next Sunday afternoon. We'll recap some other scores for you. Bears are coming back a little. Too little, too late, looks like, however. And the San Francisco 49ers pouring it on the Jets. Cleveland ahead of Kansas City. That's still got a ways to go. Atlanta going for its second upset in a row.
Look at this one. Pittsburgh 28-27 in the fourth quarter. They had another close game last week. The Steelers are playing it close to the vest.
Everybody's shooting for the Super Bowl champions. Saints trying to win their first game of the year. Our score 20-7. First and 10 Cardinals from their 44. As once again Hart tried to find Theodis Brown, the second-round draft choice out of UCLA last year.
Those Lion defensive linemen are just teeing off now. They're not worrying about the draw or anything else that you can do to a defensive lineman in the middle of a game right now. They'll let them run the draw and gain 7, 8, 10 yards on the ground.
Lions would like to get the football back to give Sims one more shot at that 100-yard day. He is 5 short. The official totals give him 95 yards rushing. Second and 10. St. Louis from its 45. Pat Tilley in motion. Tilley on the reception. Oh, that's a first down as the Cardinals move it to the 43-yard line of the Detroit Lions. Keep in mind now they have just 1 timeout left, so they can't do much about stopping the clock, which is under 1 minute and counting. Little flare out to Brown, who runs out of bounds at the 39-yard line. That was Hart's 31st throw and his 19th completion.
The play before last was really a good individual effort by Tilley to get that first down.
They still have the timeout left since Brown was run out of bounds. 2nd and 6 with the ball at the 39-yard line. 19 out of 31 for 234 yards. Danielson, by the way, 12 out of 24 for 157. Hart has thrown 1 interception out of the first half, picked off by Stan White. Over the middle it goes. Dave Stieff, number 84, was the intended receiver. He's the young man who caught a game-winning 53-yard touchdown pass in the last meeting between these two clubs, won by St. Louis 21-14. That was in 1978. A look at the roof here at the Silverdome. Our executive producer, Charles H. Milton III, our producer, Bill Barnes, and our director, Jim Silman, here in Pontiac, Michigan, and the rest of the good people who help us send these pictures and words your way. Coming up next, Tampa Bay and Dallas on our CBS doubleheader from Texas Stadium. 3rd down and 5. Over the middle, Tilley at the 30-yard line. Tilley had a first down by about 3 yards, then moved back. I think he's still got it, but he's going to be very close now. And the Cardinals pick up the first down with 32 seconds to go and call time. Their last time out. They'll have the ball at the 33-yard line. Now Tilley's had a good afternoon.
He certainly has. I think he has, 7 or 8 receptions. That list that Jim Hanafan's looking at is pretty worn out right now. What do you call? You're down 13 points. 32 seconds left in the game.
You call quick touchdown pass, onside kick, and a prayer.
Recover and a prayer pass. Bombs away. I've seen games even this far down. See the team come back and win.
32 seconds at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. St. Louis with a 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line. Cardinals have been held scoreless here in the second half.
They really haven't used Mel Gray that much, have they? He's got the long touchdown pass, but he's probably got a couple of receptions.
That reception, by the way, by Tilley was his 10th. He has caught 10 balls for 128 yards. Lions of the prevent defense all dropping back. Passes completed to Mel Gray. You call that one, Johnny. They found him at the 15-yard line.
He couldn't get out of bounds.
Clock continues to move, and the Cardinals with no timeouts left. They'll have to play hurry up here. Gray again the intended receiver, but mostly to stop the clock with 6 seconds to go. Now time for one more throw. And another one bites the dust. That'll be 3 for the Detroit Lions, who this afternoon will eclipse their win record for the entire 1979 football season when they finished 2-14.
On the other side of the coin, the Cardinals will have to go back home to face the Philadelphia Eagles with an 0-3 record. It'll be a long week in St. Louis town.
3 wide receivers in there. Mark Bell has come into the lineup. Hart to Harrell. Harrell to the 10, to the 5. And Willard Harrell did not get in. The game is over. Run out of bounds at the 1-yard line. The Detroit Lions have beaten the St. Louis Cardinals 20-7 and are 3-0 and could very well be atop the NFC Central Division. Another one bites the dust. The NFL on CBS will continue after this word from your local